DIY.
Producer Culture made a compilation where it talked to, I believe, 3 different producers, the importance of simplicity when it comes to your music production, and also the trap that some producers fall into where they end up producing for other producers. Rio Leva, a lot of people make beats to impress other producers. Go ahead and talk about it.
To like make things that impress other producers. So there's nothing wrong with that, but after the Drake song I had came out, like that beat, I made it in like 4 minutes and it had like 5 drum sounds in it. And it just made me realize like all my biggest songs are all stuff where it's very simple and I wasn't even thinking about it. I was just like, oh, just like quick in some shit and like, It's so easy as a producer to just keep adding things because you're like, oh, it could have another sound. I want to add this other cool part, but like, really we're only half of the equation. Like you gotta leave room to let the artist do their thing. And yeah, really only in the last, I'd say like 6 months, I got a lot better at making things that are simple. It was part of the process. Like I feel like I had to make all those super complicated ones to improve. Then you learn stuff from the complicated ones and then you can apply it.
A 4-minute beat is crazy. And I got questions whenever I hear some shit like that.
The Drake song I had came out. Like that beat, I made it in like 4 minutes and it had like 5 drum sounds in it.
That's something else I feel like about this era of production that we are going to look back on with a different perspective. The Speed Demon era, I think, is also producing a lot of mediocre work because although it may have took Rio 4 minutes, he said, to create one of his biggest hits, all y'all can't work that way. All y'all don't have the resources. I know damn well I'm not working that way. But there's so many variables to account for. DAWs loading, VSTs loading, engineer not ready to be plugged in. Like, what does a 4-minute beat actually sound like? And how far off is it from the final version of what we hear? Would it even be recognizable by the time we get to the last?
All my biggest songs are all stuff where it's very simple and I wasn't even thinking about it. I was just like, oh, just like quick in some shit and like.
I think the biggest point here though that he's making is that through the process of creating and finding a workflow that allows him to lock into what I believe is his flow state, he's been able to get some of his biggest hits, create some of his biggest hits because he's not overthinking the process. He doesn't leave too much time for that. Whenever you are sitting down as a producer in front of your DAW and you're asking questions about what would other producers think about this, you're already disconnected from the process. You're too disconnected from the process. You're focusing on the wrong things. Unless that producer plans on rapping on that beat that you're making and you're making it for them, it is important that you tap back into what that artist needs.
It's so easy as a producer to just keep adding things because you're like, oh, it could have another sound. I want to add this other cool part, but like really we're only half of the equation. Like you got to leave room.
I am definitely guilty of producing for other producers because I've been in fields where that was necessary. For instance, beat battles. Beat battles is a world of producing for other producers because you're in a room full of producers. Your judges are producers who are all making producer-based decisions based upon what they're hearing from your production. So that's necessary. But in the context of getting placements, in the context of working with artists in general, a lot of that producer shit that makes our nipples get hard, they piss these rappers off. Because they're like, what am I supposed to do with them 14 drops that came in before the 8-bar mark? What you want me to do with all of them 808 rolls that you doing? Hey, play it back again? You're doing too much. I do think there's a harmony experience will give you that working with artists will give you because it'll make you make decisions that are less about, okay, I gotta make it simplistic. Because there's some simplistic beats that are butt cheeks. You've heard them. I've heard them too. I think that effective is ultimately the goal. You become more effective at complimenting your artists or the artists that you're working with by continuing to work with artists because you'll start to see overlappage in the things that they like and dislike. So this is 5 beats and the caption says producers need to learn when it's time to stop on a beat.
It's a big thing and up and coming producers and stuff will definitely need to lock in and learn that like when it's time to stop on a beat.
Yeah.
Because I only learned being in the room and like I'll be making the beat, whatever, adding more shit. And the man will have to tell me, yo, stop. Put it like, they'll tell me stop, it's cool, like I just want to record in it like this.
Yeah.
And then at first I used to think guys were like dissing or whatever, then I started to just clock that, nah, like this is like once the tune comes out and I say, oh, this is a banger, like whatever, cool, like where the beat was at is enough. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I didn't have to add anything more, and the tune still bangs. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So over the years I just learned that, yeah, like more simple but effective.
So I think an important point that Five Beats made was that he was basically trying to figure out a route to making that beat a banger, and his solution was add more sounds until it's a banger. But as soon as he began to work with more artists, they would stop him in real time and say, wait. No, I don't like that. You can stop right there. That's all I need. And what that does to a producer is it now makes you question what you used to think was a complete beat or what a finished beat sounds like. Remember the first time it happened to me, I was like, that's all that you want? And then what you start recognizing, the more that you work with artists, you were taking up room for them because they weren't in the room. But now that they're in the room, they need their room. Their voice is an instrument. And if you keep filling in sounds, you're throwing more at a problem that doesn't need more from you. It needs you to be a partner in this process, in this creative process. And part of that is, first of all, quieting your ego. Another part of that is leaving yourself open to the opportunity that the artist is going to show you something through their vocal performance that you are not going to be able to capture through just throwing more sounds at it.
Because I only learnt being in the room and like I'll be making the beat, whatever, adding more shit. And then my wife told me, yo, stop. Put it like, they'll tell me, stop, it's cool, like I just want to record in it like this.
Yeah.
You may even change your perspective on it when you hear it as a full body of work. You ever had an artist add a verse and then you listen to it and all of a sudden it makes you dislike some of the instrument choices you make? Yeah, that same skill set is available to the artists that are employing you or bringing you into the studio. This, I believe, is the byproduct of working with more artists and learning the important skill of compromise.
Not doing too much when it comes to like making beats for artists, because like a lot of the beats I came up from beat battles and stuff, you know, so I was just adding a lot into my beats because that's just what I knew to do, you know. For these artists, they love when the beats are dumbed down. So that's one thing I'm still even learning to do, but just like, that's one thing that, you know, that I had to learn how to do and start getting into, even though I hate doing that. Chill out, don't go too in on one beat, because I'll go super in on one beat and the artist won't even feel it.
I feel you, Wonder Girl, I feel you. I know that emotion. Like, look at this video again. Look at how her face drops when she's like.
That's one thing that, you know, that I had to learn how to do and start getting into, even though I hate doing that.
Yeah, I know that's what I'm supposed to do, but I don't want to do it. I don't like it. But instead of me understanding or trying to understand this as me dumbing down my sound, what I started to understand is that it's less about my ego in the process. It's less about me showing less of myself and what I'm capable of doing from a musicianship level as a producer. It's not about that. Even when they say simple beats, it's not about that. To me, it comes down to that word, efficiency. Is this effective in terms of conveying the message that we want to convey? And if every single instrument that we add to this, including the vocal, shares another piece of the message, are we giving too much too soon? Is it so cluttered that I can't understand what is the center point of this music that I'm listening to? When I hear a beat that just has all these different sounds and I'm like, it makes me think if the producer has lost touch with the emotion they wanted to convey, if they even know what that emotion is. I listen to certain beats and I recognize when a producer is in a funk. I listen to certain beats and recognize when a producer is in love. I listen to certain beats of my own from my catalog and I recognize when I was going through some hard times and Curtis was hungry. I was poor. I could hear it in my drums. My drums was loud. I was like, these drums gotta feed me, nigga. Like I remember my beats sounded a certain type of way. And as life starts to change, you start to see the power of saying more by saying less. The power of evoking a stronger emotion by playing less. Because now you start to recognize different approaches that you can do with the mix. When someone says this production lacks color, you start recognizing how saturation can affect that. You start becoming emotionally connected to what your decision making is when you're making music. Those folks who are able to eventually get to that simplicity, and I think all of us have a simplistic version of ourselves. It will be such a seasoned version of you that you will recognize the insecurity that exists with just throwing more sounds at the problem that you're not actually solving. It don't need more sounds. It needs you to make more sound decision making. Those are my thoughts. What do you guys think? DIYers, if you enjoyed this content, make sure that you hit the like button and maybe even consider subscribing. Come on, man. Don't be greedy. Peace.